And that's one of the reasons why I'm so heartfelt strong about this movement and the things we're trying to do to make people aware of how the system, how our social system is corrupting our values and what we really want. And that's one of the big tools we can use to overcome that roadblock, is plugging the hole, the ideological hole, and making people realize that we all want the same thing, and we're all really after the same thing, and we're trying to go about it in a way that can really benefit everybody.
Right. So you know that obviously with yourself and your background that it's possible. It is possible for somebody who has grown up with religion to embrace these ideas and say, I get it. I really do. I can see from even my own worldview how that would be valid and valuable, and I want to help out with that. So it's not an adversarial relationship. This is something that completely supports what most people are taught to value. It's just that things get shifted around in our current society as to how to really how to really make that come about and what the root causes are. We've kind of been conditioned out of recognizing what the root causes are. One particular challenge with Christianity is the nature versus nurture part, because behaviorist psychology kind of might put people on guard who are hard and fast believing in good and evil, and that's a challenge, because then you're recognizing that maybe people are acting the way they do, aberrant behavior, out of an environmental situation instead of a quote-unquote sin nature. Which would be in thinking of, a devil influencing them or something. And from a religious standpoint, people can be very judgmental of other people, saying that they have evil tendencies or that they're greedy. But we know from studying psychology and behavior of humans that it's actually very much linked to the way a person was brought up, the level of education, what resources are available to them, and that's why we're really focused on in this movement in creating an environment that gives people a chance to feel connected, to feel that they are valued, and just that they don't need to engage in a behavior that would take away from someone else if we remove the reward.
It's an excellent way to express that. You got to change the idea that you have some kind of identity in your actions. That your actions set your identity, whereas your identity should set your actions. With Christians, I know one way to kind of open up the dialogue on that issue is with free will. It's kind of a double-edged sword, and a lot of people don't even realize that they're trying to dance on both sides of it, saying, well, human nature is one way, we were made this way, this is the way we are. But at the same time, we're also going to believe God gave us free will so we can decide whatever we want to do. So engaging people with that conflict on that ground would kind of make them realize where do you really stand on that? Is it one way or the other? You can't have it both ways. Another kind of a conflict, ideological conflict that I've seen having to do with free will in capitalism is that capitalism somehow represents freedom, and freedom represents capitalism. And if you say something that attacks capitalism, then you're attacking freedom. And I just cannot explain how much that pains me mentally to think that people really identify capitalism with freedom. And one discussion I was having with someone recently was about a current issue with healthcare reform. And the individual mandate that I don't know how many people are aware of, that compels you to purchase health care. And I was explaining how this is a great capitalist success. You know, if you can compel your market base to purchase your product, then that is an excellent success for capitalism. And he goes, no, 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 that's taking away your freedoms. That's not capitalism at all. And so you've got this divide where people identify their ideologies and their freedoms with the current social system and don't even understand the conflicts that are really apparent, that are really there, and how the system functions and how it works against your freedoms.
Right. I would say from there, that's where you start, that's where you ask questions and have a genuine curiosity about someone's stance on that. Say, well, okay, so you feel like that you're living in a really free life right now. So do you feel like you could do anything you want? Do you feel like you could own anything you want? Do you feel like you could? As far as, you know, are you living the lifestyle that you want now? Do you feel the freedom to do that? Are there things that are going on in the world that you feel like you could affect and change? Do you have the freedom to do so? Or do you feel like there's something keeping you from doing that? For example, you know, what comes up a lot with Jacques is, did you vote for the Iraq War? No. Did you vote for Vietnam? You know, we think that our political system and the democracy brings freedom, but what are we really having a say in here? Do you get to decide what you do with your day, or do you have to work your 9 to 5 and put your time in? And do you have to pay bills and are a slave to that, the responsibilities of those? Do you view that as freedom? Because everybody has a different view of what freedom is. So those are some things to bring up.
Yeah, absolutely. Freedom and are we really free is really one of the biggest issues that we can reach common ground with people on when we're trying to discuss these things. And that's also one of the hardest roadblocks to overcome, is the idea that you're not free. Because you know, we don't, in America, in the United States, we don't live in a country where you're questioned when you leave the house. And, you know, you don't have to go and get approval and authorization to do certain things. And that's the way it is in most of the industrialized world. But in some places, maybe it's not that way. And so you can identify freedom that way. You've got to break through that perception of freedom to understand that maybe your immediate actions aren't under control, but is limiting the scope of your actions also an impeachment of your freedom. You know, is the fact that a lot of things aren't available for you to do because you don't have money, isn't that an impeachment of your freedom? And that's
well, even then, I would say, I mean, I used to work for some multi-million-dollar investment bankers. And one thing I learned from that experience is I learned the reason why people always want more, even when they have a lot, is because even money can't buy freedom. Money actually becomes a big burden of responsibility. The more things that you own, the more things you have to maintain. The more things, you know, I mean, think about it. In this economy, people who have a lot of money are probably suffering more to some extent mentally, because they're feeling very unstable. Whereas if you had lived a life on the streets, you're not feeling as much of a shift and change. You're probably a resource person and understand that your identity is in a different place. But if you associate yourself with, this is who I am, I'm a successful person with lots of money and lots of material possessions, and suddenly things beyond your control start putting that and start threatening that, then that's a really scary place for you to be emotionally, especially if you've identified, like, that's your identity and who you are. You can feel very helpless in that situation. So I think that we're going to start to see some things break down, and